Welcome to Gorgeous Gals. The project plan for today is a sunflower made using the Cricut in a shadow box. It's really pretty cool. However, I have to confess, this is not going to be the best video. I was learning a couple new techniques and totally messed things up. The lighting is bad and a shadow glow appeared. Then I forgot to record a section, so I had to substitute, which I'll point out later. So hopefully you'll bear with me through this project. Let's start with the supplies. You'll need 65-pound cardstock paper, which I get from Michael's. You'll need 2 sheets of brown and 4 sheets in yellow. I also have on hand my Cricut scissors, spatula, and tweezers. Start by opening your Cricut design space and find the project called Sunflower and Butterflies. There will be a link in the description below. After you open the project, click on Make It. You will see 2 brown mats with the material size of 12 by 12 that needs to be changed. Click on mat 1, drop down the option menu and select 8.5 by 11 letter. This will change the size for both brown mats. Now do the same for the yellow mat 3 and open the drop-down box, select the 8.5 by 11 letter, and this changes all the yellow mats. Now go back and click on mat 1 for ease of cutting sequence, and then click in the lower right corner to continue. Next, you'll need to select your material and cut pressure. Go to the Search All Material in the upper right corner and you can type in medium stock and select the 80-pound cardstock and click Done. I keep my pressure cut at the default setting because my test was successful. You'll want to repeat the process for the yellow mats as well. Now here's where I forgot to record, so the paper is a different color. On the Cricut machine, you will push the button with the up and down arrow that will be flashing to load your paper. After the paper is loaded, click the flashing Cricut logo to start the cutting process. To save time, I didn't record the cutting of all the paper. The next, separate the mat from the cardstock. Then remove all the designs. The brown strips make the middle of the flower. The 2 half circles are your base and template when gluing the petals. The long strips you see me pulling off the mat are the petals, and then there are butterflies in large, medium, and small. Start by gluing the large half circle to the small half circle, lining up the flat edges. This will leave a small gap around the curve to help keep the petals in a uniform spacing. Set it aside to dry, and then start working on the brown strips. These are the center of your flower. I fold them in half using Elmer's glue to tack them together to hold the fold. This does not have to be perfect. I use a tacky glue for this step because hot glue is a little too thick, creates glue webs, and lacks the flexibility when I start rolling them into a tight circle. I will place a little weight on the strips to help with the bonding process while the glue dries. Now I move on to giving a little crease to the petals. I give it a slight bend or fold, but we don't want a sharp crease. We want it to look natural. I'm going to leave the sped up clip of folding the petals because my daughter thinks it looks funny, so honey, this is for you. Even speeding it up, it took a while, so I cut out several frames. And after everything has been creased, now we get to move on to assembling the flower. Start with the brown strip by rolling it tightly into a circle. You can use a small amount of hot glue to tack it in place if needed. When you get to the end, use a small dab of hot glue to hold it in place and start the next strip. Always make sure that your cut marks are facing the same direction. Follow this process, leaving about 3 to 5 brown strips to be used later. Now we're going to glue the petals around the curved edge of the half circle. You'll notice a slight gap around the curve, which is where you're going to place a small amount of hot glue in a small section. Then place the flat end of the petal on the glue in that little gap. This will help you evenly space the petals around the half circle and form the flower. Once you get the first layer down, you'll want to start on your second layer. For the second layer, you want to just move inside of the half circle and in between two petals. This will layer your flower and give it dimension. Continue this process until you complete the second layer. You can add as many layers as you want as long as you have petals. Just remember, with each layer of petal, you will be moving inside about 1/8 of an inch and placing the petals in between where the two petals of the previous row are. After you finish placing your petals, you want to check out to see how the brown center of the sunflower fits. As you can see, mine was too small, so I decided to add more flower petals to make the flower fuller, and I used all the brown strips to finish the center. Now that I'm pleased with the way it looks, I glue the brown center on top of the petals and over half the circle. Setting it aside, I get my shadow box and prepare it for the flowers and butterflies. I remove the backing by folding the pins up on the back side of the shadow box. I remove the push pins and the paper. Then on the inside of the shadow box, there's a small frame that comes out, and I use it as a guide when I position the flower and the butterflies. I position the petals of the flower to a lower corner of the frame and the side with no petals facing the opposite upper corner. Then I position the butterflies as if they were flying out from the center of the flower. Once I like the look, I start by gluing the flower in place with the hot glue gun. Then I glue the butterflies, starting with the bigger butterflies and then working my way down to the smaller one. I'm least likely to miss gluing anything with this process. I decided to add 2 little butterflies on top of the center of the sunflower. Make this your own. It's a piece of art that should be matching you, whatever your desire or whatever you see. Now I reassemble the shadow box. I remove the frame that I used as a guide from around the flower and butterflies and put it back on the shadow box. Then I tip my project to make sure everything is glued and put it into the frame. Now I flatten the pins on the back side of the shadow box and we're done, and here's the finished project. I want to say thank you if you hung in there with me all the way to the end. I really appreciate it. We look forward to spending time with you again next Friday for another project. So until then, make it a gorgeous day every day. Bye.